Thank you so much for staying with KTN News Center this Monday, the 29th of May 2023, a day after Kenya joined the rest of the world to commemorate a menstrual hygiene day. And that's the conversation we are having this morning, and what could possibly be done to end the period poverty and also ensure that every woman has access to some of these menstrual hygiene products. With me in studio next to me is Angela Waweru, who is the co-founder at the Heals for Pads Foundation. At the center is Winnie Mwai, Assistant Chief Commissioner at the Kenya Girl Guides Association. That's right. And at the far end is Jen Anyango, who is the Executive Director at the Polycom Development. Thank you so much, ladies, for staying with me. And let's continue with the conversation. I think we'll start with you, Jen, on how Polycom is reaching out to women and girls in slums. Specifically, I think you deal more with women in Kibera slums, and how the cost of living is affecting access to some of these menstrual hygiene products, because sleeping hungry will not prevent the flow.
Periods are very, can I say, loyal?
Yeah.
They will come. Whether you're sick, whether you're what, whether you're rich, poor, you know, they'll definitely come. So what happens is that many people don't prioritize sanitary towels. Many parents don't buy sanitary towels for their kids. And as an organization, we have a small pad making company. So we encourage kids to come for pads. In schools, we give the emergency pads. So every month, the schools send their kids for the emergency pads. And I'm stressing on sending their kids to collect the emergency pads, because we don't impose pads on them. Because, you know, at times Kenyans, or maybe, can I talk about the informal settlements, they'll always receive whatever you give them, whether they're going to use them or not. Mostly they do it to please you. You know, they don't want to say no, even when they have other pads. And we know that we have other organizations that are giving pads in our, within our communities. So whoever is in need is the one who is allowed to come. So our doors are open to any girl who can come in for their pads. During this time, we've been able to have the community pad drives, where we are talking to people about menstruation. We are normalizing the fact that, you know, people menstruate and they need these gadgets. And we've made sure that our products are very hygienic. In fact, for girls with disabilities, what we do is that we don't gum our pads. You know how messy it can be to change pads, the ones with wings and well glued on the panties, if it's someone who is not able to stand. We also have all these conversations with the girls about what gadget to use, because, you know, we don't have water. I know we have a lot of campaigns in Kenya where we are talking about wash your hands after visiting the toilet. For a woman, is it just after or even before? Because if you're able to touch your pad, if you are changing your pad, then your hands should be clean. So we have so many women who are suffering in silence. And in fact, when girls have infections in their private parts, they don't talk about it. Because when they talk about it, then people associate them with what? Having sex. And nobody wants to have sex in this country, you know. So it's very, very complicated. So parents don't buy pads. They don't prioritize that, because, you know, you have that little money that you have. Unga, you cannot even afford unga. If we're talking about people living below $1 in a day, and a packet of pad is it more than $1 now?
Yeah, it's about,
So what do you buy? Do you buy your unga, or do you buy your sugar, or do you buy your gadheri kwa barabara, ama what do you really buy? So it's very, very complicated. And this year's theme for Menstrual Hygiene Day, we are talking about normalizing a menstrual conversation. Let's all talk about menstruation. Let's get people to know that we must just take care of ourselves. We must menstruate with dignity. This is what we are all talking about, and let it get to the ear of everyone. As we have conversations with the boys as well, it's something that no one can run away from. Even the women, you know, we have had the women who soil their clothes. We just heard from Senator Gloria. You know, when you're traveling far, and yes, you have your emergency pad somewhere in your bag, and it starts. Are you able to tell the driver to pull aside so you can change your pad? You know, so we should all understand that this is something that can happen to anyone, and we should all talk and bring the care, you know. Talking about girls, let me say that someone, you have your infections and you have your pad. Can you have the pad on and still stay in class? So you have the pad, yes, but you have infection. Is it possible to sit in class?
No.
You know, and then maybe you're cramping. and the exams are there. And in Kenya, we talk about a 350 mark, which, are you able to pass your exams? Or when a girl's period starts, I have a girl who was telling us of a story of her period started when they were distributing the maths paper, and she was the best in her school. She couldn't do it.
Yeah.
She failed her math. The parent couldn't understand. The teachers couldn't understand. Everybody scolded her. But she sat that paper feeling her periods flowing.
Yeah.
She tried to talk to the invigilator, when it was starting. But, there is that time that you're not allowed to leave.
Yeah.
So do you pad yourself because you're going for your exams and you know your periods are not there?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of suffering. As much as we are talking about tough economic times, we are talking about the gadgets are there, we are talking about the supplies, then we still have this stigma that if we don't handle it, then I don't know if anything is going to change in this country. And I don't know whether it's in this country alone. I've not talked to people from other countries. But in this country, we must just bring this conversation at the household level, within the school, within the communities, and just everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's support women to menstruate with dignity.
And, Winnie talked about menstruation now being a human right and not actually a health issue anymore. So Angela, what should girls, I know they need to be empowered, but what then do we need to do to make sure that even the lawmakers understand that this is a human right issue and they need to come up and support girls and ensure that these rights are also protected?
52% of females are of a reproductive age at all time. And if we don't have these conversations also on a policy level and educate the boy who one day will be a CEO of a company, will one day have a female employee. And so we need to have these conversations about painful periods. We have people who sometimes have to go to hospital every month because of endometriosis, for instance. So while you're also talking to the girls, you also need to train them of the different types of periods that they will experience, but to also talk when they are experiencing periods and it's not coming. Because a lot of women, perhaps of the challenge that they're experiencing, there was no safe space for them to talk about their body issues. And so therefore they did not get the right help, the right medical help that they needed. But if we have these conversations and really lay bare the challenges of what goes through a woman's body, what a woman experiences both during menstruation and both during menopause, then that way we can be part of countries like Spain, where you can work from home, or you can have a menstrual leave day. Kenya can be like Scotland of Africa, recognizing that this is a problem that is a human rights issue and that everyone should have access. If we can have access to free condoms, and like I said in the beginning, is that you cannot have a conversation about menstrual health and ignore sexual health, and you cannot have a conversation of sexual health and ignore menstrual health. So if we are given products that are dealing with the challenges that come with sexual intercourse, then we also need to give out free products that are coming with the issue with menstrual health. And a woman or a girl cannot get pregnant if she doesn't have her periods, right? Yeah. So we also just need to recognize and have these opportunities, having these conversations, but we also need to be real about all the different types of periods that exist, so that also from a policy level, if you call in sick and say you can't come in today, generally speaking, because you're dying of your cramps and stuff, the person on the HR side should be okay to understand that this is, and the company should also have a policy that allows you to feel comfortable working from home, right? So those are the conversations that we need to have on all level. But before we, as Winnie said it right, that in this country we have issues around taboo and shame. 20 days ago in India, there was a girl who unfortunately was tortured for 4 days and murdered by her brother because he thought that his sister was being sexually active when he saw her outfit was soiled, right? So he kept asking her, tell me, I'm imagining, tell me that you're being sexually active. She didn't even know that she was experiencing periods. She didn't understand why she was bleeding. So there's a lot, when it comes to menstrual health education, it's not just about the body, but it's also about educating everybody at all levels, the different type of health challenges women experience because of menstruation. So there are issues like a man, a 30-year-old man killing a 12-year-old girl who is his sibling because of lack of knowledge shouldn't be a conversation. You know, in Kenya, Jacqueline Chepngeno, 2019, died by suicide because of, you know, her uniform being sold, but shamed by her teacher, who also gave that opportunity to be shamed by her girls. She probably had other issues, but as you said, menstrual health is also linked to mental health. Yeah.
All right. And Winnie, maybe do you have more anything to add on the gaps there are in addressing menstrual hygiene? And number two, to add on that, personally, I'm of the opinion that if the menstrual hygiene management was addressed well, then we wouldn't be talking about school dropouts and teenage pregnancies. I also don't know what's your take on that. So what, apart from conversations, just to ensure that menstrual hygiene is not just a health question, but it's a human right, what needs to be done at a national level so that a woman has a right really to menstruate and to get these products that they need at any particular time?
First of all, I think it's about for example, this year's theme is to make menstruation a normal human fact by 2030. But if you look at it, we're in 2023, meaning we have 7 years to go, but we are still speaking about stigma. So I'm not sure about how achievable it is, but we can only hope. So menstruation, I think where the government or something can come in is by holding counties or schools or anybody in that line. You see the way they are providing the pads for that girl in school. Hold everybody accountable from the budget that was given for this activity to the delivery. Is it going the way it's supposed to be? Also in schools, why can't we have disposable, like the way we have free condoms and they're disposing of condoms? Why can't we have a dispenser for the pads? Because this girl does not have a choice, and sometimes the home setting does not give an environment where the girl can access knowledge. So it's only when you are involved in projects that you realize like how you grew up was a privilege. Because I had information, I knew how to use pads by the time I was in class 5. But then now you go.
How old are you?
But then now you go and then you find even just some girls actually are surprised. They even think they're dying or something is happening because they don't even have the basic information. So if this should be part of even the curriculum, teaching about menstruation, it should not be just everybody can narrate in science the way the hormones, the ova, the uterus, the wall, it sheds. No other thing is discussed about menstruation, but it needs to be in depth. Yes. About that information, because sometimes even these girls resulting to, like we were saying, these sexual transactions, it's because the sex is behind the scenes and the period is behind the scenes. So they think it's something that should happen. It's something because it is not addressed openly. So you might see a young girl just in school, but you do not know the things that she's doing behind there. So I think information should be the first information should be dispensed, because only when the girl has information can she actually even decide. Like how she's saying, teach them about the different types of periods. There are different kinds of periods. But for example, you are taught, like for us, when we go to the field, when we are having contact with the girls, we tell them, remember, it doesn't have a formula. Like there's no formula for how to use a pad. It depends on your flow. Depends. Some people you find, because as she was saying, the things we are using, even the products, they're not made for our bodies. For example, the African woman is very curvaceous. So you find like some pads, even here we can attest, they are not sufficient. It starts like from here, it ends before the journey ends. It ends just somewhere. So it contributes to even more stigma, because now a lot of us are prone to messing. But now the information is not there because this girl was told, use one pad. But now imagine if she was told it's actually okay to, you can join 2 pads, so it becomes like one long thing. And if you ask many people, we do not, even us ourselves do not know how to use those products. Now imagine somebody who is out there. You go to some communities, girls have to like dig a hole and sit there the whole time they're having their periods. So anyway, just to conclude, my point is to say accountability. First of all, there should be accountability. Then all these talks of periods and whatever should also go hand in hand with infrastructure. What are the things that are in place to actually ensure that the products are getting to the girl? And the other thing is just initiatives, and also teachers creating a safe space in schools, because sometimes, or most times, you find teachers do not create a safe space in schools. Like I was giving her a story back when I was, we had done class 8. When you're doing KCSE, there's the mocks. When you're doing the mocks, there was the pass mark. The pass mark was 50. So I scored 49 for Kiswahili. Then I remember this male teacher, now looking at it, he's a predator. But then maybe I didn't know, or I knew it was bad, but you see. So what happened? It was games time, so this is like at 4. He calls the girls in my class who didn't get to the pass mark of 50, so he says he's first going to deal with the girls, and then he's going to deal with the boys. So we get to the classroom. He's saying he's going to beat us, So he tells us to take off our panties. So he's sitting like over there, assuming it's me. Now I'm the teacher. Now he's telling us, take off your panties, come spread them here. I remember one chick we did that twice. You remove, you spread it there, you go back, wear it, then you remove it again. Then I remember one girl who was saying she was on her periods. She had already started. Me, I hadn't started by that time. She had her periods, and then the teacher was like telling her, no, you remove it, I confirm, like you also remove it. So you see, even teachers, there needs to be space.
All right.
Yeah.
We have to wrap it up. I'm
sorry. It's okay.
But let me welcome your remarks in like a minute. We've talked about the menstrual products, but when you talk about facilities, many people don't really, even the decision makers don't really understand when we are required to have adequate facilities to ensure proper menstrual hygiene. What exactly are we talking about?
When we are talking about facilities, then we are talking about the washrooms. Mostly the washrooms. You remember when we have toilets in schools, then we have same number of toilets for boys and girls. For a girl, especially a menstruating girl, to go in, finish her stuff, put everything back together and go away, it's roughly 5 minutes or so. And then how long do we have of our break time? It's supposed to be 25 minutes or so, meaning only 5 girls will have visited the ward. We would have completed everything within the washroom. So I think all the partners, the developing partners, everybody, the legislators, just everyone, let's talk about giving girls the space to menstruate with dignity. Collaboration is power. You know, right now we have the GAF, the National Gender Affirmative Action Fund, but now we don't really have the menstruation component within the entire conversation. Let's be intentional, because we are never running away from this, and girls are born every day. So we'll always have people looking for information. It doesn't matter how much you get. And just as she's talked about the people knowing their bodies, we know ourselves. It's not about the information someone gives to you. It's about adapting the information and using it to suit your need. So let's talk about it everywhere. Let's talk within the schools, with the PTA and everybody, and let's just be free to menstruate with love and happily.
All right.
I love that.
That's a good way to end our conversation, that let's be free to menstruate with love. And what?
And with dignity.
Dignity. All right, ladies. Thank you so much for making this conversation possible. Angela, Winnie, and Jen, it was great having this discussion with you. We couldn't have had it with any better panel than you ladies. Thank you so much. We keep on making awareness on menstrual hygiene and why every woman deserves to have proper products and proper facilities.
Hopefully next year we will be having a different conversation.
Let's hope so, because we've had countries like Scotland that have made the products free. Sanitary towels are free. So I hope Kenya, we can take the lead for East Africa and also make our sanitary towels free for our women and girls. Thank you so much for watching. This is KTN News Center. We've been talking about menstrual hygiene a day after Kenya joined the rest of the world to mark the International Day Day for menstrual hygiene. My name is Purity Museo Nzuki. Up next is an Ojiri. Keep watching KTN News, and God bless.